ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We are reading from the book Meditation and Spiritual Life by Swami Yatiswarananda. We are currently in chapter number 34, which is titled Footprints on the Sands of Time. This chapter, just to give you a preview, is all about the different saints of India from the different regions of India. It's a remarkable chapter from the point of view of Bhakti Yoga, and it's a long chapter, so we'll probably take several sessions to complete this particular chapter. So we'll start with the next section, which is the Alvars of South India. One of the earliest groups of saints who rose during the post-Buddhist era was a group of Tamil saints known as the Alvars. They were all worshippers of Vishnu. This deity is mentioned in the Vedas. A special sect known as the Bhagavatas, who followed the cult of Vishnu, existed even as early as 500 BC in the north-western center parts of India. They worshipped Krishna as an incarnation of Vishnu. Some of the ancient Hindu kings, especially the Guptas, belonged to this group. So also were the Pallava kings of South India. The lives of Alvars are shrouded in legends, and it is not even possible to fix their times correctly. According to modern scholars, they flourished between the 7th and 9th centuries AD. What is important about them is that they were all great mystics and recorded their experiences in their poems. There were in all 12 Alvars. The earliest 4 of them were probably contemporaries. There is an interesting anecdote about the first 3 Alvars, known as Poigai, Bhuta, and Pe. One day during a storm, these 3 wandering saints took shelter in a small hut where there was hardly standing room for all of them. Soon they began to feel the presence of a 4th person in their midst, but invisible to them. This they knew was none other than the Lord himself, and each one of them burst forth into a song describing his experience as he understood. It is said that Poigai Alvar's experience was higher intuition, Parajnana. That of Bhuta Alvar was higher devotion, Parabhakti, and that of Pe Alvar was transcendent knowledge, Paramajnana. When saints meet, they talk only of God and sing His glories, whereas worldly people, when they meet, talk only of worldly things and argue and quarrel about them. We moderners are losing our sense of curiosity, our capacity to understand the highest emotions that filled the hearts of our saints and sages who were eager to share their divine love and bliss with all. Without these feelings, man is a mere nothing. When the head and the heart are empty, what is left of us? The heart is to be filled with divine love and the head with divine ideas. And these in turn should find expression through holy action in our life. This is the central theme of spirituality, a point which we should never forget. The Alvars held the Supreme Spirit to be dearer than the dearest. That is why we find in them such ecstatic love. These great saints of Sri Vaishnavism approached the Lord with different bhavas or attitudes. The greatest among them was Namalvar, also called Shatakopa or Shatari, who belonged to the relatively low Velaga class. He composed 4 poems which are often called the 4 Tamil Vedas, the most important of which is Tiruvai Molli. In this hymn, he speaks of the Lord as the all-pervading spiritual principle who also assumes the most beautiful human form for the sake of the devotees. Another great poet saint was Tirumangai Alvar, who belonged to a tribe of thieves, Kalla, and had been practicing robbery for some years before he became a saint. Another famous saint was Tirupan Alva, who was born in a family of the so-called untouchables. He used to sing praises of Lord Vishnu and lose body consciousness in the ecstasy that followed. One day when he was thus seated in front of the famous temple of Ranganatha on the banks of the Kaveri river, the chief priest of the temple came that way with water for the holy ablutions of the deity. Fearing that going by the low caste man might pollute the water, the priest shouted at Tirupan. At last he threw a stone at him. Brought back to consciousness by the pain of the wound, Tirupan ran away. However, when the priest entered the temple, he found the shrine doors closed. A celestial voice then reprimanded him for his harsh act and directed him to carry the wounded low-caste devotee on his back. The priest ran out and forcibly carried the frightened man on his own shoulders into the temple. The legend says that the doors of the shrine opened and the saint got merged into the image of the Lord. Another important avar was Kulashekara. He was the king of the southern part of Kerala. Overpowered by divine love, he renounced his kingdom to devote the rest of his life exclusively to the contemplation of the Lord and passed his days in the precincts of the temple of Ranganatha at Sri Rangam. So great was his humility that he said he used to lie down on the steps of the temple so that the dust of the feet of devotees may fall on his body. He composed songs in both Tamil and Sanskrit. In one of the Tamil hymns he says, "No kinship have I with the men who choose the evil when the good unmixed is there. Mad am I for the Lord, the cowherd groom." This is the heart of the devotee longing for union with the Supreme Spirit. In his Sanskrit work known as Mukundamala, which is one of the most popular devotional poems in India, Kulashekara speaks of total self-surrender. He sings, "Lord, I do not care for the so-called meritorious acts, neither for wealth, nor for the enjoyment of the objects of desire. Let that which is inevitable fall to my lot according to my previous karma. But this much is my cherished desire, that I should be endowed with unshaken love for thy lotus feet in this life, as well as in the lives to come." So we'll try to read the 7th verse from the Mukundamala. Nastha dharmen na vasuni chaye naiva kamopabhoge yadyad bhavyam bhavatu bhagavan purvakarmanurupam etad prarthyam mama bahumatam janma mantarepi tvat padabhyo ruha yugagata nischala bhaktistu. I'm sure this bhakti rastu. I'm sure there's a tune to this, but we haven't studied this particular hymn. The next one is, "Let me be placed, O Lord, in heaven or on earth or in hell, as it pleases thee. I shall even in death think of thy holy feet, which surpass in beauty the autumnal lotus blooms. Divi va bhuvi va mamastu vaso narake va narakantaka prakamam avadhiriti sharadar ravindau charanau te maranepi chintayami." The real devotee does not seek freedom from birth. For him, escape from the trammels of the world is not a goal in itself to be prayed for. The greatest objective to be achieved is love for the Lord, who is also manifest in countless forms. That is the greatest ambition of all the great saints. That should also be the ambition in the hearts of all spiritual seekers. Among the 2 or 3 Alvars who were Brahmins by birth, the most famous was Periyalvar or Vishnu Chitta. He used to spend his days making garlands for the deity. His famous poem Tirupalandu is daily sung in many of the important Vaishnava temples of South India. In that unique hymn, produced by the ecstasy of love, the devotee blesses the Lord to live long for thousands of years, forgetting to seek blessings for himself. His daughter was Andal or Gola, who is revered as one of the greatest women saints of India. From her childhood, she had no other thought except about Krishna. One day, her father discovered her wearing the garlands he had prepared for the Lord and scolded her. But a divine voice told him that the Lord liked those garlands worn by her. She looked upon herself as the bride of the Lord. Tradition holds that the priest of the local Vishnu temple was ordered by the Lord to bring Andal to the temple in a palanquin. Next morning, Andal, decked like a bride, went in a palanquin with a number of people forming the bridal procession. As Andal entered the inner shrine, the Lord received her and she merged into his divine body. Later on, a magnificent temple was erected at Sri Viliputtur, Andal's birthplace, and a temple festival is conducted to celebrate the event even to this day. Andal was a gifted poet. Her poem Tirupavai is sung all over South India during the month of Margashirsha. In one of the stanzas of this poem, she describes how by dwelling on the Lord's glory and meditating on Him, all evil cease. When thus all pure we come, strewing fair flowers, adoring and with songs upon our lips, and meditating in our hearts on Him, Mayan, the child of northern Mathura, the ruler of great Jamuna's sacred stream, the shining lamp which in the shepherd caste appeared, Damodaran, who brightly lit his mother's womb, falls past and falls to come seize, like to cotton that within the fire flames into dust. Ah, Eloram Bavai. Andal is one of the best examples of bridal mysticism in India. The devotee looks upon herself as the bride and the Lord as the bridegroom. The purified soul longs for the eternal presence of the Lord, who is the soul of all souls. Andal fully utilized her power of imagination in constantly dwelling on her beloved Lord. It is an example of how to sublimate our mental powers, which are usually spent in imagining all kinds of morbid things. Very touchingly, she describes the play of Sri Krishna. Thus born as one woman's son, and in one night was concealed and reared as another's child, thou mighty Mal wrestler, who wast very fire, in Kamsa's heart stirred unendurably. Thwarting the evil purpose that he planned, with longing after thee we have come, and with a drum thou but bestow, then we will sing thy bounty that is worthy Lakshmi's self. Sing to thy might, and all our trouble gone, we will rejoice. Ah, Eloram Bhavai. All the available poems and hymns of the Alvars were collected into a monumental work called the Nalayira Prabandham by a great Vaishnava teacher named Nathamuni. This book is considered so sacred by the Sri Vaishnavites of South India that they call it Anubhava Vedanta, the Vedanta of direct experience, which indeed it is. Nathamuni's successor was Yamunacharya, who was followed by Ramanujacharya, the greatest figure in the revival of Bhakti movement in South India. Born in 1117 AD in a pious Brahmin family, Ramanuja first studied Hindu scriptures under a famous Advaitic scholar by name Yadava Prakasha. His devotional mind could not, however, accept the Advaitic doctrine, and he developed his own ideas in which he tried to synthesize devotion and knowledge. He wrote commentaries on the Brahma Sutras and the Bhagavad Gita. His philosophy, known as Vishishtadvaita, holds that God, the souls, and the universe together form one reality. God is the Supreme Spirit who is all-pervading and transcendent. The universe comes out of Him and returns to Him in cycles, each cycle lasting several million years. All souls are likewise totally dependent on Him. In the spiritual path, self-realization comes first and then God realization, which according to Ramanuja is possible only through God's grace. He thus gave bhakti supreme importance as a spiritual discipline. Apart from re-establishing the supremacy of bhakti and the cult of Vishnu, Ramanuja organized his followers into a distinct community, gave great impetus to the study of both Sanskrit and Tamil scriptures, and also tried to spread the religion among non-Brahmins as well. His liberal mind is shown in accepting a Shudra as one of his gurus and in his imparting the sacred mantra of Narayana to a large assembly of people. His teacher Ghoshti Purna had initiated him into his mantra after instructing him not to reveal it to anyone. The punishment of disobeying one's guru was going to hell. But Ramanuja climbed the Gopuram of the temple and openly revealed the mantra to the large number of people who had gathered there. On being questioned by his teacher about the propriety of his conduct, Ramanuja said that if by his going to hell so many people could be saved, he would prefer that to his own spiritual salvation. Ramanuja travelled far and wide in India in order to spread his views. He was the first great Acharya to place bhakti on a philosophical footing. Yamunacharya had done a great service to the cause of bhakti by admitting the works of Alvar saints into the fold of Vedanta, and he had laid the foundation of Vishishtadvaita. But it was Ramanuja who built the towering philosophical edifice which has ever since influenced all subsequent Hindu religious movements in India, directly or indirectly. The Bhakti movement in North India is traceable to his influence. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.